Hi, this is my last video for today. I've made quite a few videos today, but I might as well while I've got the time at the moment, and what I'm saying, what I'm sharing is important. I know that my videos are poor quality, and I do have a speech impediment, which is very, very mild now. I mean, it was really bad. I had a really bad speech impediment for years, from being a child. But anyway, I can speak well enough to share a few thoughts. And this video's the foundation is to share the intellectual foundation, the intellectual compassionate foundation for animal rights, and why we do need to honour those rights. And so I'm using the horse as an example, but it applies to all the creatures that we have, that have supported us as a species to the point of life, to this very day. And it's a point of life where we're able to look at the universe, we're able to examine it, to experience it, to witness the galaxies, to understand how everything works. It's just fantastic. We're living in fantastic times, and it's very unfortunate that we're still being oppressed by this antiquated consciousness that's got very limited imagination and really needs emancipating from its own programme that is still being played out to this very day, like an echo of ripples going across a lake, and the ripples now will start to fade as the last of them hit the edges of our consciousness. And one of the creatures that have brought us to this day is the horse. They're one of the creatures, and a very key creature as well when we think, where would we be without horses? And the things that horses have had to face, riding into battles, pulling huge cargoes across, look at the kind of terrain they're having to travel. And that is why horses are connected to the divine. You see, that's why the prophets had visions of angels coming down to earth on a horse. Because they've given us wings, they've given us strength, they've given us speed. And we owe them now. We owe horses. We owe dogs, don't we? When we think what dogs have done for us. And we do need to look after these creatures. I mean, whether or not we should be riding them still, I really don't know. It's whether or not the horses what the horses get out of it. Do they have nice lives? I think things have to be completely reciprocal. We shouldn't. There should never be a sense of slavery for animals. That the animal must always feel completely loved and appreciated, and never just used, you know, because that is to abuse the creature, isn't it? But you know, for us to be interdependent, and we do need to care for all the creatures that have brought us to this day, that have kept us alive. The sheep wool has kept us warm in winter. The pigeons have sent messages for us. The pigeons and doves have sent messages for us. They've all contributed. All of them. And we have a responsibility and a moral and ethical duty to care for all the creatures. I mean, personally, I don't use animal products or eat meat or animal products, but still, I would still say, yeah, we still need to keep some cows, because they've kept us here. So, you know, and then there's a way then, you know, perhaps of managing, you know, for people like, we've got cats, haven't we, as well, and we owe a responsibility to them. So, you know, maybe, like, my type of world would be to keep cattle and sheep and what have you, and when they die naturally, turn them into animal food for the animals that eat meat, you know. There's just a small remnant of now, you know, a few tigers, and most of the carnivorous animals are rapidly becoming extinct, and so we are going to have to look after the ones that are here and manage their populations. And these are the kind of things that we can be putting our attentions to, instead of what's the latest missile we're designing at the moment. I mean, how complicated is that? Do we need to design any more missiles, really? Haven't we got enough to last 50 planets? Wouldn't it be a lot nicer thinking about how to look after the animals and our planet, and how we can clean it up, and how we can make everything better, and what we can do to improve everything? Wouldn't that be more interesting than, you know, spending all our time thinking about who we hate and who we're in competition with and why we're so miserable and where we're going to get the next meal from? These aren't things we should be worrying about. We need just to focus on love, you know, on our compassion, and show our true appreciation. To show respect. And that's one of the things that I do love about the native peoples of so many tribes, but especially the Native Americans, who were just so respectful to nature. I mean, they depended on the buffalo, but they didn't waste any single part of that animal. They also looked after the buffalo as well. That's why there were millions of buffalo until, you know, Westerners got there. Because even though they killed and ate buffalo, it was a reciprocal thing. They didn't have them penned in anywhere. They just followed the herds. And because they were there protecting those herds as well, it meant the herds actually grew larger. And they also gave thanks and praise to the buffalo spirit. There was a reverence for the buffalo. And in most natural, well, native cultures, people did always give thanks and praise to the nature, the natural world that sustained them. And like horses, when they entered into America, they were considered, they were like a holy creature to the native peoples. And all the creatures are. They are holy. And we have been treating them like non-sentient beings, but they are sentient. They feel, they're just raw emotion. That's what animals are. That's why it's so terrible to abuse animals, because they're just so helpless. They are like children. They do have a consciousness. They do have feelings. They feel fear. They feel all the things we can feel, but they've got no capacity to intellectualise them. That's all. And you know, they are really sweet. Horses are so sweet. Such a sweet consciousness. So anyway, that's what this video, why I've made it, is to explain why this is the foundation for animal rights, and it is a very, very important foundation. And it is part of our joy. It's part of our joy of life to actually relate to our natural environment, and to, you know, connect with the creatures of Earth, and to re-establish that bond, that natural bond with our planet. Because this world depends on severing that bond. It depends on us being willing to abuse our mother, and to degrade her and disrespect her and deny her rights.